I decided to record the picks video earlier this week just because of the Thanksgiving holiday. Um, I don't want to be bothered with trying to figure out when to do this, like Friday or Saturday. I want to have a couple of days to actually enjoy my Thanksgiving break from school, my vacation from work. Da, 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 da. So here we are, anyways. Um, I'm getting out in front of it, just giving you all of my Week 13 picks. I'm not even plugged into like injury reports or what's going to happen with a lot of these games come Sunday and Monday. So it is what it is. But let's get after it. Last week, not a good one. Like a 9-4 picking the winner straight up is okay. Brutal week against the spread, honestly, 4-9. Just not very good at all. I think it's the worst week of the season to date. And sometimes unfortunately that happens. So season to date, I'm 103-60, picking the winners straight up, 90-73 against the spread. So as I've said the past couple of weeks, you can make a little bit of money betting like I'm using my picks, but don't put all your money on it. That's for sure, because I'm sure like at some point in time the Jeff Jinx would hit you very strong. This is kind of a unique week for football, though, with the Thanksgiving holiday. You got 3 games on Thanksgiving Day. You've got one on Black Friday and apparently in the afternoon. I don't know who the hell asked for that, but that's what we're getting. And then you've obviously got your normal slate of Sunday games and then Sunday night and Monday night. So let's start off by talking about Thanksgiving Day. And of course, what better way to kick off the Thanksgiving holiday and show gratitude to football fans and Americans all the while around the world than to sit there and shove Bears football in their face for 3+ hours. Why the NFL and the networks want to do this and make this a thing, I realize Chicago is a huge media market. I understand you were probably projecting this team to be a little bit better than they are, but it's the goddamn Bears, and until established otherwise, stop putting them in these featured spots. The Lions are favored by 10.5. You could make one argument here, and I'm going to play devil's advocate for just a moment, because I would sit there and look at that 10.5 point spread and say you're fucking nuts. Like, of course the Lions are going to cover that. The only thing I would say on the contrary is the Bears lost by a point to the Packers only because of a blocked field goal a couple weeks ago, and then had to go to overtime, forced it to overtime with the Vikings, and only lost by 3. Those are 2 divisional opponents, pretty good divisional opponents. The Lions could take it for granted a little bit. It's Thanksgiving. That 10.5 point spread is really, really large, and frankly should make you concerned to lay that much money, because this is exactly the type of trap game that Detroit could underperform, and while they might win, they might only win by 3, 4, 6 points, right? I'm going to bump that and still say, like, give me the Lions minus the 10.5, because on a short week of preparation, the Bears already come out thoroughly unprepared when they have a full week or even 2 weeks to prepare for a game. What the hell are they going to do in only 3 or 4 days? So give me Detroit minus the 10.5. Your biggest stinker on Thanksgiving, of course, is going to be the Giants and the Cowboys. Woof. I realize this is a tradition having the Cowboys on Thanksgiving every year, but goddamn. At least it would have been the Eagles. Like, oh, the Giants. Yikes. Yeah. Millions of people are going to watch that, and how many are actually going to be entertained by it? Give me the Cowboys minus the 4. Dolphins versus Packers has a chance to be a solid one. That's the last of the Thanksgiving Day games. I do like the Packers to win. Give me Green Bay minus the 3. Then you've got your Black Friday matchup. The Raiders traveling to Kansas City and Arrowhead to take on the Chiefs, who are coming off of their first loss of the season against the Bills a couple weeks ago and barely squeaked by beating the Panthers last week. The Chiefs as 13-point favorites in this spot. I realize Minshew is down and it sounds like out for the year, but the Chiefs just struggled mightily against the Panthers. Now you could say, well, they'll be back at home, and this will be a bit of a wake-up call, divisional rivalry, la 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 la. Yeah. Like I still think Kansas City will win, but that 13-point spread scares the shit out of me. Give me the Raiders to cover the 13. Then you switch over to the Sunday action. You've got the Chargers traveling to Atlanta to take on the Falcons. The Chargers are small 1-point favorites here. Chargers coming off of the loss to the Bills. All right, the Ravens. I'm sorry, I got other stuff going on in my mind. Give me Atlanta plus the 1 to win. You got the Steelers traveling to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. The Bengals are 3-point favorites here, which is interesting when you consider the records of these two teams, but I understand folks are kind of looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers and down on them a little bit. I think they bounce back this week. Give me Pittsburgh plus the 3. Got the Cardinals traveling to Minnesota to take on the Vikings, who should feel pretty fortunate that They held off the Bears last Sunday. I think this will be a little bit of a boost for them. Give me Minnesota minus the 4. They're really good in one-score games. The Colts travel to New England to take on the Patriots. Should be an interesting matchup between Anthony Richardson and Drake May, two highly drafted quarterbacks in the past two drafts. Give me the Colts minus the 2.5. You've got the Seahawks traveling to New York to take on the Jets, and like how much longer are they going to try and continue to play Aaron Rodgers here? What a disaster that's been now. The head coach is fired, the general manager is fired. Give me Seattle minus the 2. I can't believe folks were really bought in and thought that Aaron Rodgers was going to go back to MVP levels. Like it just would have been unprecedented. Just no way. The Titans traveling to Washington to take on the Commanders. You know, when you look at the Commanders, that performance against the Cowboys last Sunday, what a brutal way to lose. All the crazy shit that happened in that game. But here's Daniels to McLaurin, 80-plus yard touchdown. Just hit the damn extra point, and they missed the extra point, and then they kicked the onside kick, and the Cowboys return it for a touchdown. Like, yikes. Heading in the wrong direction for the Commanders. They need this one really, really badly. They need this to be a get-right game, so I think they'll come out and play much better. Give me the Commanders minus a 5.5. And then the last of the early slate of games on Sunday, you've got the Texans traveling to Jacksonville to take on the Jags. You know, look at the Texans, and they should easily beat the Jags. But then, you know, you look at the Texans this year, they haven't been quite the same. What are they, like 7-5, something like that? Not been very impressive. It's a divisional game. The Jags have had 2 weeks to prepare. Yes, they're coming off of that drubbing by the Lions, but I'll still pick the Texans to win, but I actually like the Jaguars to cover the 5-point spread here. Call me crazy, I know. Then you switch over to the late Sunday afternoon matchups. You got the Rams traveling to New Orleans to take on the Saints. Remember the first 2 weeks of the season where people were talking about the Saints and that Clint Kubiak offense? Yeah, exactly. Give me the Rams minus a 3. You got the Buccaneers traveling to Carolina to take on the Panthers. Beware, Tampa. Like, Carolina just played the Chiefs really, really tough last Sunday. I still think Tampa will win and cover the 6-point spread, but this is one of those trap games, danger games. Don't overlook your opponent. And, you know, when you see Bryce Young, he's not lighting the world on fire, but he certainly has been playing better. It just makes the whole decision early on in the year, in my opinion, to bench him for Andy Dalton look even more idiotic. Just my opinion. Like, when you draft a young quarterback like this, you have to roll with him for an extended period of time. And that means that you go through some ups and you go through some downs. And you have to be prepared for both and be level about those. And just because those lulls can last a little longer, like, you've got to keep playing it out. And hopefully Carolina is like, okay, like, we got to let Bryce Young show what he can do the last remaining games. Eagles travel to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. Should be a really, really good matchup, you know, depending upon your opinion and perspective. Could be a potential Super Bowl preview matchup. Give me the Ravens minus the 2.5. The Sunday night matchup, you've got the 49ers traveling to Buffalo to take on the Bills. Now, I don't know if Brock Purdy's going to play or not. Frankly, does it even matter? I don't know if Bosa's going to play or not. Like, the 49ers just aren't the same this year, whether guys are in there or whether they're not. Give me the Bills minus the 7 here. Got to roll with it. And then you got the Monday night matchup. Ooh, this could be a really brutal one. You've got the Browns traveling to Denver to take on the Broncos. Yeah, give me the Broncos minus a 5.5. I don't even know if I want to watch that game on Monday night. So there you have it, my Week 13 picks.